Hello, everybody. It's Dr. J Real Talk back for another session here. And in this one, I am talking about the entrepreneur mindset for those early careers, folks, right? We're talking about the graduating folks who are graduating this up, in December or coming up in the spring. Uh, the 21, 22-year old, all the way up until about 35 years old, right? The early career folks out there. You know, in today's age, having an entrepreneur mindset is probably one of the most important things to have. And I also want to let you know that the entrepreneur mindset is not always about starting your own business. That's not always the case. So I'll talk about that in this session. So what you're getting out of this is advice from me to you, and of course, information that I've gathered over my years in my early career that is going to help you build a really early career superpower. At this point, I've already accomplished my early career phase. And so I want to give you that knowledge so you can build that for yourself. Because I wish somebody, when I was in my early career, gave me this information. Because we're definitely going in a different direction, right? The traditional career path is dead, right? Our parents, our grandparents, lived in an era where you work for a company for basic law, you 30 years, 40 years, and you get rewarded with a nice pension or good retirement accounts, right? You worked all these years, that's kind of dead, right? And typically too, right, the average person would have a career to 4 or 5 years within a company and then change in 5, 10 years or so. That's not the case anymore today, right? I mean, the traditional career path is long gone, right? Again, it's going to be extremely rare in today's age where somebody graduates from college at 23 and sticks with the same company for 40 years. That's extremely rare. And so job security is not always guaranteed. Look at your job like being part of a professional sports team. You're here one day and tomorrow you may not be there for the company, right? Because the company always needs to look out for themselves. And so you have to put in your work and hopefully your computer turns on tomorrow. So, as much as we want to have job security, that's basically a myth. There's really no job security in a sense. Again, but the only security you can have is creating value, right? Creating value for the company and then, of course, creating value for yourself. So you have to consistently work on yourself, do the best you can, provide the company with the best you can to give them results and also for yourself. What is the entrepreneur mindset? There's a lot of definitions for the entrepreneur mindset. If you just Google it, there is a bunch. You can also check out www.entrepreneurialmindset.academy, which is a website I created. But basically, we talk about the entrepreneurial mindset. It's about finding opportunities, right? Learning from your failures and getting over the obstacles. When someone has that entrepreneurial mindset, they're consistently solving those problems and not looking at the obstacles like, oh no, like I can't do this. I need to stop what I'm doing. No, it's like, okay, here's an obstacle. How do we get over it? How do we get around it? How do we get through it? If there's a problem, maybe there's an opportunity here for us to gain to gain an opportunity. So, looking at that looking at it that way is really helps you build that entrepreneurial mindset. Again, when you build the entrepreneurial mindset, it's not about, oh, I want to go start a business. That's one part. But even if you work for within a company, you can have that entrepreneurial mindset, and that's going to happen a lot. I want to give you another advice. Like the days of companies giving you training, like back in the day, they used to train you, take a few months or a few weeks to train you. Yeah, there's some jobs where they still have to train you, but for the most part, not a lot of companies are going to invest in a lot of training for you, especially if you work for like a really small company or a mid-sized company, you know, 30 to 50 people or less than 10 people. They're not going to invest a lot of time in your training if like you go work for a corporation. And so if you work for like a small sized company, a medium sized company, You may have to go out and do your own training or your own learning. Uh, so that's another thing too. Own your career like a CEO. You have to think about your career like you're the CEO of your own industry, right? You're the chairperson of your career. So you have to, as a CEO, as a chairperson, right? What are your goals for the year? What do you intend to do 5 years from now? What are your daily, your monthly, or your daily, your weekly, your monthly, your quarterly, your yearly goals, right? Where do I see myself 5 years from now, 10 years from now? If you're 22 now, by the time I'm 35, this is what I want to accomplish in my career. So again, every decision you make, every skill you build, every relationship, you have to look at it as an investment because it's in your own personal brand. You are the chairperson, you are the CEO of your brand, of your name. You want people to look at your name and say, this person delivers results. We can count on this person. Yes, I will put my name behind this person. That is why you have to be careful at the things you say, the things you do, because that can follow you. Even if you live like in a big city, like, oh, no one's gonna know me. There's 3 million people in the city. There's 500,000 people in the city. You would be surprised at how people know each other, even in a big city, right? Big city, small town. So again, take your career like the CEO. Always invest in yourself. Make a decision that's going to be best for you. And again, build those relationships. When you build relationships at networking events, don't look at it as a one-way street. It has to be a two-way street. And you're not going to build relationships over one networking event. It's going to take a while to do that. But we could talk about that later for another session. But again, look at your career like a CEO. Embrace the side hustle economy. A lot of folks are doing their 9 to 5, and of course, also investing in their own side hustle at the end. I mean, in today's age, you got to make more money than probably in your full-time job, unfortunately, and you got to make some money. Or the side hustle could be something, what, I'm working on this job right now. I'm delivering on my job. My side hustle is something I want to be creative about, something I can work on, see if there's an opportunity there for me to make extra money or maybe to launch a new career. So if you're going to do a side hustle, right, if you want to embrace a side hustle, and you don't have to, one thing I will say, you don't have to embrace a side hustle. I would probably, if I was if I was in my early 20s, I wouldn't necessarily embrace the side hustle too much. I would really work on my career, see where I'm at, work on it really good. Maybe later on I would embrace the side hustle to see what's going on. But if you do embrace that, right, have a golden mindset. Why am I doing this side hustle? Am I doing it so I can build a new skill so that I can launch a new career? Or am I doing this for extra income? Or am I doing this? I'm working my 9 to 5, still getting an income, and then my side hustle, if it goes well, is going to eventually become my full-time gig in my own company, right? So have a goal with the side hustle. If you're just gonna do a side hustle, go find a part-time job and just that's it. But have a goal for your side hustle. Don't just do it for the sake of doing it because everyone is doing or people are doing it. But again, if you're gonna do a side hustle, make sure you're taking care of your 9 to 5, and because that's what's bringing in the bread and butter for you. So, uh, fail fast, learn faster. You're gonna make a lot of mistakes in your career. Now, one of my favorite quotes is like, learn from the mistakes of others because you can't make them all yourself. That is absolutely true. You have to really embrace failure and learn from that, and of course, have a comeback. Learn from them. Learn from other people's mistakes. Hopefully you're able to partner up with a mentor that has 20, 30 years of experience and tell them to give you some advice and what pitfalls not to fall on and again and learn from that. Again, fail fast, learn faster. Network like your future depends on it. Again, I cannot tell you, embrace networking, go to networking events. Do not be discouraged from them. In your early 20s, your title is probably not as appealing to others. So don't be discouraged where if you're at a networking event, like, and this happened to me a lot of times in my early 20s. Like, I would go to a networking event and I'd be like, hey, my name is Jay. I'm whatever I was at that time. Oh, I'm just a program coordinator. I'm just a coordinator of, very low position. And this person would be like, oh, I'm John. I'm the VP of sales, or I'm the VP of IT, or whatever it is. And for this large corporation, this big business, nice to meet you. Okay. And they would move on because it's like, well, I can't provide anything for them because I'm not at their level in terms of careers and positions. So there's not much that I could do. And I'm not I'm not going to be able, they're not going to be able to sell me anything that I'll be willing to buy. So, but continue to network. You never know what happens, right? Just be true to yourself. Network with people around your. There are a bunch of networking events in your area for early career folks, young professionals. Go and network, build those relationships because your network is your opportunity pipeline. Your network may not pay off right now, but later on down the road, you never know if the opportunity helps or that networking helps you find a new job, helps you find a side hustle, like an opportunity to for a sale. Again, you never know, but don't treat networking like a one time thing, right? I have to be careful what I'm gonna say. Don't treat it like, oh, I'm sitting here to get my real quick and then leave. Like, no, that doesn't happen. People are not that dumb as you think. You got to treat like a two-way street. It's like you shake my hand, I shake your hand. What can we do for each other? And again, don't be discouraged if you go to a networking event and you really don't meet anybody. Again, it's going to be consistently going to these networking events because you never know what happens later on down the road. Build skills that robots can't replace. I know with right now at the time of this recording, there is a lot of going on with AI and technology. Technology can do a lot of things today, right? It can, with AI tools, it can write music, it can do art. But, robots, for the time being, right now, as we know, really can't replicate or replace creativity, right? Emotional intelligence and problem solving. There's only so many things you can write into ChatGPT or these other AI tools to give you the problem when you really have to go out in the field and figure out yourself, right? AI cannot really control your emotional intelligence. Like, there has to be built within you. People skills, like you have to build those people skills. You really have to like have that entrepreneurial mindset and be creative in solving those problems that are in front of you. Because only you, through your emotional intelligence, through your creativity, through your entrepreneurial mindset, through your problem solving skills, are really going to be able to provide that necessity for the company, right? Because the company is looking at you like, how are you making this company money? How are you making this company better? So with those skills that AI really can't replace or robots can't replace, you'll be really, hopefully, right? I can't always guarantee you that you will be able to be that person that AI just can't easily replace. So again, build those skills that robots can't replace. Again, that is why even when you graduate from college or associates or you always or your trade craft or trade schools, you always have to continuously learn, right? Continuing education is really key. If your job provides continuing education, take it, right? Some jobs offer access to those LinkedIn courses or Coursera or some other type things. If your job offers that for free, take huge advantage of those continuing education courses. Or if they pay for you to go get a certificate or a degree, take full advantage of that because you got to continuously build and hone on your skills. Again, think like an owner, not an employee, right? The employee mindset's like, you do as you're asked. If you want to roll that way, have at it, right? If you want to be known as a person that, hey, Johnny over here does as told, and that's it, then fine, go ahead. But if you really want to be valued in the company, if you really want to be valued in an organization, if you want to be that go-to person that just knows how to solve the problems, knows how to build a pipeline for growth, has the solutions or can figure out solutions, can work as a team, has great emotional intelligence, figure out innovative ways to get things done, then build that entrepreneurial mindset, right? Ask yourself, do I just want to have an employee mindset where I just do as told and work like a robot? Or do I want to have an entrepreneurial mindset where I'm consistently solving problems and building a team around me and helping everyone grow in my company? So your entrepreneurial journey starts now. Again, the best way for you to be successful in your early career so that you could be even more successful in your mid-career and so on and so on is to plant a tree now, right? So again, plant the seeds now in your career. Continue to network. Be the CEO of your company. Be the CEO of your own self. Treat yourself like the CEO, like the chairperson, and again, continuously learn. Plant the seeds now so that later on down in your career, you continue to grow and grow and grow and grow. So, again, I really encourage you to plant those seeds now. So hopefully y'all connect with me. Follow this YouTube page. There's a tremendous other amounts of videos that I have. Follow me, and in the description here, I'll have my contact information. Here's my website. Let's connect. Willing to help out. And of course, click like and subscribe to his YouTube channel. All right, guys, I'll check you out next time. Again, this is Dr. J, Real Talk.